Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. We're now 2 days into the first Sunken City balance patch, and did this balance patch fix the meta? Well, let's take a look at some of the early impressions of the meta that I have. I've been browsing statistics all day, looking through trends, looking through performance, looking at what's going on, and what's going on, let's address the elephant in the room first. Everyone said, why are you not nerfing Aggro Demon Hunter, Blizzard? Why are you not nerfing it? And they didn't nerf it. They nerfed the competition, but not Aggro Demon Hunter. And as a result, Aggro Demon Hunter, it beats all the other aggro decks. There are no other aggro decks that are being played in the meta at the moment, because Aggro Demon Hunter is just better. If you're going to play an aggro deck, play Aggro Demon Hunter. It beats all the mid-range decks. There are still mid-range decks being played in the meta, because Aggro Demon Hunter loses to control decks. So there are mid-range decks that are farming those control decks, and there's still some competition on which mid-range deck is the best. Like, which mid-range deck loses the least to Aggro Demon Hunter, basically. That's the competition. Which one can get closest to that 50%, or even like 45% or something. And yeah, and Aggro Demon Hunter loses to control decks. But overall, Aggro Demon Hunter remains by far the best deck in the game. It is up to 30% of the meta in some ranks. And yeah, obviously the hope was that, hey, maybe other aggro decks, once some of those oppressive decks are going to be nerfed, maybe some of the other aggro decks can take against the Aggro Demon Hunter a little bit and become competitive against that. But so far, in the first couple of days, there are zero signs of that. None whatsoever. I was really trying to look for any signs of competition to Aggro Demon Hunter from the same archetype, and there isn't any. So that slight sliver of hope that, hey, Blizzard is not nerfing Aggro Demon Hunter because they know that other decks can be teched against and then beat it. Yeah, I guess they just didn't know. Tough. On the subject of those mid-range decks, by the way, a temporary, I believe this is a temporary thing, but Mech Paladin is back. Yeah, Mech Paladin, like one of the most obvious decks to build in the game. Well, many decks in the new expansion are very obvious to build, but seems very one-dimensional, just loses to aggro not very fast at the start, but it has so much value. And it's a real control killer. It beats Control Paladin, it beats Control Warrior quite handily. It's actually probably the best deck against Control Warrior. And it dies miserably to Aggro Demon Hunter. Aggro Demon Hunter matchup is like 70-30 in favor of Aggro Demon Hunter, or maybe 75-25. So even decks like these are seeing play right now, and they are having some success. There's still above 50% win rate overall, because even though it has that miserable aggro matchup, then its control matchups are so good. But overall, what mid-range deck is going to survive? Well, I wouldn't bet on Mech Paladin surviving, because I think there's going to be mid-range decks that lose less to Aggro Demon Hunter, and therefore they will be better overall once we get past the initial phase. Then there are decks like Quest Hunter, for example. Quest Hunter is actually, if you want to play a deck that has a chance in most of its games, then you should probably be playing Quest Hunter. Quest Hunter is having a really good time at the moment, maybe even the second best deck in the game. A jack of all trades, master of none, doesn't have any of those, hey, I just automatically win matchups, apart from Curse Warlock, but no one plays Curse Warlock anyway, so okay. And also, it doesn't have matchups where it just loses, apart from various Ramp Druid decks. But then again, Ramp Druids are dying now with the Kazakusan nerf. I will talk a little bit more about that later. But because Ramp Druids are dying, that means that Quest Hunter has more space, and Quest Hunter is doing well. And then on the subject of those control decks, well, every prediction actually that I made came true. Control Warrior, Control Paladin, Quest Hunter, all of them are doing so much better. Control is back. It looks like Control Warrior is actually the better control deck. Control Warrior beats Control Paladin. Hey, Control Warrior has Kazakusan, and Control Paladin usually doesn't. Although there is a Dragon Control style of Paladin deck as well, which runs Kazakusan, and which is almost as good as the one that just runs that Big Mr. Smite. But it looks like it's slightly weaker, or I don't know, we'll see how it turns out. Might be that Control Paladin with Kazakusan is actually the better Control Paladin in the end. But Control Warrior, anyway, it's better than that. And yeah, Kazakusan, Pretty useless in other matchups, but when you're in a control mirror and you have Kazaku-san, and then Kazaku-san randomness kind of decides the game in the end, probably. So the type of gameplay that I used to play with control, like knowing exactly all the resources my opponent has, picking the optimal answers, saving my resources so that I will eventually get some 2-for-1s, and I will be able to outvalue my opponent, that doesn't exist. So yeah, it's just some random stuff in the end or something. Anyway, control decks, great against Aggro Demon Hunter, but there's a variety of mid-range decks right now that are then, in turn, farming these control decks. In the grand scheme of things, Priest, Rogue, and Warlock, they are all dead. None of them have any playable decks, and nothing that even looks like it could become a playable deck, so they just have nothing. Druid is almost dead. There's like one Anaconda Druid list that is at 50.5% or something, so maybe it lives, but it's on a downward trend, so probably it doesn't live. So Druid is dead. 4-class is dead. Overall, right now, looking at statistics, above 50% win rate, there are 11 different archetypes that have a deck, at least one deck, that can reach above 50%, and that is counting that Anaconda Druid. So, yeah, that's not a whole lot. And the overall meta, it's completely warped around the Aggro Demon Hunter, because there must be control decks. Control decks are the only thing in the game that beats it. You can't play anything else to beat it. And then there's those people who like to side with the evil, and they play mid-range decks that then prey on those control decks. And as a result, we have a very polarized meta, with Quest Hunter being pretty much the only jack-of-all-trades deck in the entire game. Everything else being quite polarized, and yeah. That is the state of the game. I'm going to make a better list of like the best decks and try to sort them in order a little bit later, once we have a little bit more data, once we have a little bit more time for the meta to settle. But these are the early impressions, and I'm not really sure if there's any answers to Aggro Demon Hunter. So everything that was predicted would happen with the balance patch, everything happened like that, and Blizzard just didn't care. Yeah. That's the state of Hearthstone 2022. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and check out my Twitch channel.